Hey guys, I'm about to make this leather skirt, view C, and here are some of the supplies that I will be using in order to do the construction. Have you ever seen these before? These are Teflon sewing feet. And so, let's get started. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do here, as always, is I'm going to test on the same fabric that I'm going to be working with, which is the faux leather. So I run a test, make sure that the stitches are good to go and are very stable. And you see there, very clean stitches. So now we can get started. Next here, I'm attaching piece number 1 to piece number 2. What I'm showing you is I wrote the numbers on the fabric, and I am about to stitch at 5/8 of a inch of a seam allowance there around the pocket bag. Next is what I just mentioned, which I'm stitching on the first part of the pocket bag, the front part. And I am taking my time, make sure I stay at 5/8 inch of a seam allowance. And I do know where that is on this particular sewing machine. She and I have been together for a while, so I'm pretty good with that. So now I'm going to cut away about 3/8 inch off of the seam. I've done that. Now I am flipping the pocket to the right side, or wrong sides to wrong sides, I should say. And with leather or even faux leather, you should either hammer it or roll it with a non-heating, like not an iron. And that, the pink thing, did you see in my hand? It's like a little iron. It presses the seams down. So I'm pressing them down as best as I can utilizing this particular tool. So that's what you see me doing there. Okay, so now here I've done a top stitch and an edge stitch. That's to hold the pocket down. And once again, I'm going to use that tool as you see, and I'm going to press those stitches down with this tool. As you can see, the stitches are beginning to lay down from me rolling on the top of them. Next up, I'm putting pocket bag 3 onto pocket bag 2. This is what makes it a complete pocket, as you guys know. And with faux leather or pleather, anything like that, you got to use clips instead of pins. There will be a point that I will have to use pins, no way around it. But in the area that I will be using the pins, I am going to put the pins right where the seam allowance is. So those holes will never be seen. So I'm going on and stitching the pocket bags together, which would be piece 1 and piece 3, which will make it a complete pocket. Yeah. Next up, I am going to, as you can see, complete pocket there. So next up, I'm going to base down the side and the top of the pockets so that they're not flopping all around. So where you see the clips, that's where I'm basting. And that is my stitch length dial. I turned it all the way to 5, which is the longest stitch length. And now I'm just going to go ahead and baste that. And I'm using a 1/2 inch seam allowance to do the basting with. So that is what is happening at this point. Just making sure that the pockets are secured. And I done both sides. I only demonstrated one side, of course, but you do both sides the same exact way. And I did not mention earlier that I did change the needle out to a 100/16 needle, which is a leather needle. So now I am measuring 5/8. That is where I am going to lay down the vent. I'm having to create a 5/8 inch fold where the vent is in the front of the skirt. And I have to stitch that down so that it'll be nice and clean. So that's what I'm working on here. And actually with this faux leather, I end up using some hem tape, and I just pressed it down. So now I'm about to install the zipper fly front, all of those things there. So that's what you see me doing here. I'll put some hemming gum, whatever, on there, using that Teflon zipper foot to attach the zipper. Now this was a little testy for me because I didn't use any sewing needles or pins to hold the zipper in place, but I done it correctly. So now we're at piece number 7, and that is the fly front. So I gave that a little press underneath of a Teflon sheet, and I done the basting, and I stitched it on to the right side. All of this is on the right side. Now I'm working on the left side fly, and I'm going to go ahead and attach that. So what I'm doing here is I'm going to stitch the fly down onto the fabric. I've done that. Now I'm going to take 3/8 of an inch of that fabric off of the seam allowance, because if it stays in there, it'll be too bulky and it won't lay correctly. It won't lay flat. Next up, I'm going to go ahead and understitch. I'm flipping the fly front over, and I'm holding the seam allowance in the direction of the fly, and I am stitching that down. I'm stitching on the side of the fly, and I'm stitching the seam allowance to the fly facing. That's what I'm doing here, not to the skirt, but to the fly facing. And then come back for part 2 to see the rest of it.